If they were real, which creature from folklore slash myth slash legend would you be most worried about existing? The gods and goddess in Greek legends. The entire North American continent could be gone in a day, just because Bob called Zeus a dick. Skinwalkers and Wendigos. Just talking about skinwalkers makes them more powerful, and attracts them to you. Wendigos are also terrifying. Edit. Skinwalkers are shamans that have turned to black magic and can shapeshift. Wendigos are cursed people that turn to cannibalism and are doomed to be eternally hungry and only eat human flesh. At least, those are the basic differences. Doppelgangers and changelings. Literally anyone and everyone else could be dead and replaced and I'd never know. Heck, maybe Jim, who I've known my entire life, has always been a monster just waiting to eat me. Fee. Piss off the wrong person and get a ridiculous ironic curse put on your family for generations. Visit the wrong person's house, and when you walk out, 100 years have passed. Make an offhand comment that sounds like a promise and now you're magically held to it forever. Then there's the whole thing, where they steal people's babies and replace them with their own. There are plenty of creatures that might be more dangerous, but at least you'd know what you were getting into. Genie. Just takes one power mad psychopath to get some wishes and f everything up. Amia, in Greek mythology, is a woman with a snake body that eats men and children. Strigoi, European vampire with 6 feet long tongue that pierces through the necks of humans for blood, and the world serpent from Norse mythology. Terisk, originally a little known creature from French mythology, then added into D&D, and made the most powerful creature in the game. Cthulhu. Balrogs would be problematic. There is this mythological creature in Japanese culture called the Ittan-momen, which is a sentient piece of cloth that flies around trying to smother people. While many of the creatures in this thread are terrifying, I would be extremely worried about this one because it is seemingly such an innocuous thing, but can so deadly. Imagine trying to shop for towels at Bed Bath and Beyond and dying because of some crazy Japanese creature. Rain of Fire tells me dragons would be pretty damn bad. Vampires. Compulsion is seriously messed up. A vampire of sufficient age can, theoretically, compel swaths of people to do whatever he or she wants them to do, and they are powerless to resist. Losing your free will is horrifying enough, but imagine the sheer havoc that would ensue if warring factions of vampires were compelling people left and right to support their own petty causes. Humans are just mindless bodies to throw at a problem. The more you can compel, the stronger you are. It's an arms race where the weapons are mindless minions willing to do whatever you tell them to do, no matter what the cost. The alien from the Alien movie seems to be a planet-killing creature that adapts to whatever you throw at it, minus Ripley in a power suit. Sigourney Weaver will save us. Draugr, where if you see them out on the ocean, in their boat, you have to win a race or you die. Pretty much any SCP that isn't just some object, and, even then, about 80% of those are ducking terrifying. Santa Claus, I mean the dude watches all children. What does he do with this information? Why does he elect himself to watch the children? I'd be scared for the kids, not as much me. The Wild Hunt. Well, not exactly a creature, but something of an army of undead, fairies and the likes. That would be terrible. It is basically a cavalcade of unearthly beings who destroy and pillage whatever they find, occasionally abducting people and taking them to the underworld. The Wild Hunt itself is not even the worst part, because it's merely a presage of war, plague, famine, or at best a death threat. Succubi and dragons stealing our virgins. I'd still give anything to have my time with a succubi, as a simple man with not much to lose. SCP-096. Look at its face, and it will not stop until it kills you. Also, it's invincible. Edit. More detail from the SCP Wiki. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, he will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover his face with his hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed his face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1 S location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill, and, data expunged, SCP-096-1 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes, before regaining his composure, and becoming docile once again. Medusa. You look at her, and turn to stone. That's a lot of statues. There's a local legend in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which involves a mysterious and supposedly deadly sort of otherworldly creature. Some versions claim that it's a man-like shapeshifter, capable of blending in with the shadows as it stalks through the desert. Others describe the beast as being curiously canine in nature, albeit with 2 long limbs, black claws, and eyes that seem to burn like pinprick embers in the darkness. One thing that remains the same through every retelling, though, is the high and eerie keening noise it's said to make when it hunts down its prey. One evening when I was about 11 years old, I heard it. I had been lying in bed, reading beneath my covers with a flashlight, when a mournful howl pierced the air from somewhere across the moonlit sands. My first thought was that it had been a coyote, but as the sound echoed through the night for a second time, I felt a shiver of panic flash up my spine and a deep weight of dread coalesce in my chest. That evil wail was not the call of anything I had ever encountered, nor of something that should have even existed in the waking world. It was the cry of a nightmare incarnate, and no amount of reason or rationality could shake me of that notion. Now, at around the same time as this story, I'd been doing my best to foster a reputation for being an independent and unflappable badass. That goal went swiftly out the window as the screeches seemed to draw ever closer, and I quickly ran from my room to seek the protection of my parents. Upon reaching their door, though, I was presented with an even more terrifying discovery. The howls were coming from inside the house, along with a lot of heavy breathing and the occasional whisper. I couldn't look my mother in the eye for a week. TL. Doctor, ducking skinwalkers. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. A false hydra. It's a creature that is born from lies, that sings a song that makes you forget it's there, along with everyone it's eaten. Banshees. I'm Irish and have been scared by the very idea of them my whole life. Once when I was a kid I found a cone lying on the ground and spent the next 2 weeks convinced I was gonna die. In Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them, the add-on textbook J.K. Rowling wrote, not the movie, there is a creature called the Nundu that is said to be the most dangerous magical beast. It is a giant leopard that's breath is so virulent that it wipes out entire villages and is so powerful that it has never been subdued by fewer than 100 wizards working together. The old ones from Lovecraftian literature. Absolutely terrifying. The monster in Stephen King's It. The movies don't explain what it is very well, but it is thousands of years old, takes shape of a person's, prefers kids' worst fears and eats them when their fear peaks. Also almost impossible to kill. A swan. They eat unborn fetuses. They are shapeshifters. They replace their victims with doppelgangers who go home, talk to their families, then die because nothing is more tragic than having your family die in front of you. Gremlins. Sure they can be killed, but imagine how many would pop up if even somebody left some trash out, or they ate a bird that was dead. All of the sexy women that are really monsters/demons/fairies in disguise who want to tempt you and then eat you alive. Reddit would be a ghost town by the end of the week. Do weeping angels count? Don't blink. Unicorns. Not because it actually does anything nasty, but because how humans would completely exploit a creature that instinctively detects virgins and sexual abstinence in order to persecute others. Unless they're Peter S. Beagle's unicorns who look more at one's moral compass, those are cool. Whatever that mix is a hot lady with a hideous monster, like a Joragumo from Japanese folklore. For some reason that terrifies me. Lizard people, infiltrating the highest levels of government/industries to increase the rate of climate change and make Earth habitable for their cold-blooded brethren. Werewolves every full moon would be chaos. Most definitely the basilisk. It's a giant reptile that can kill you by looking at you. And in some records it says, can also kill you. I could just be out in the woods hiking or something and boom. Dead. Because some stupid snake demon thing decided to make noise. If I'm being honest with myself, any creature that is half naked beautiful woman on top / half monster on the bottom, my curiosity would get the better of me.